Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick with Starfall Sabers, and usually I don't do breakdown videos like this, but this saber was pretty special, really cool, and I thought it warranted everyone seeing how this comes apart for install. Now this is probably one of my oldest commissions with David from the Saber Museum. He has been a huge support. He's got a lot of sabers on order with me, and he's been very patient as I've taken care of other clients who have been waiting, but David is by far my most patient client, especially with the backlog of sabers that I have for him. But I did promise him one of his high-end commissions that I would take care of for him this month, and we also, he decided to use another commission spot to upgrade the saber with the Elite crystal core, which is something that I offer for all of my sabers, whoever wants to purchase one. Basically, it's a very high-end metal crystal chassis system. And so David also gave me free creative reign on this build. And to me, it kind of seems like it was a saber that was under construction and then just lost to time. Just like an old relic saber that maybe had been taken apart for some repairs. But I just loved kind of like the skeletal nature of this saber. And then this comes apart to reveal even more, which I'll show in a second. But I need your help to name this saber. If anyone has a creative name, drop it in the comments, and then David from the Saber Museum can pick the one that he likes the most, and then that's what this saber will be called. And whoever wins, I'll send a little something cool to them. So kind of make it a fun contest and get saber fans engaged a little bit. But so what I wanted to show first is just as the saber sits like this, you've got some cool shine through stuff. So you have this hidden crystal chamber here behind these ribs, and then you also have the rear chamber. So once this is installed, this is going to light up really cool. Now David asked me to send this to Chris Skinner from Cast Designs for the install. He does a lot of David's high-end installs. So one cool thing with this saber is you have this release screw here. And so you can kind of set this window to be whatever you want. It can reveal the hidden chamber underneath this way or this way, which is kind of cool. So you have some options here. Same thing with the grip, which I'll show you. But for reveal mode, just make sure this is backed out a little more. This whole top shroud comes completely off. And now you have the top crystal chamber section in display. And then the rear grip does the same thing. So you can release on the brass section here this set screw. And you can kind of reveal different aspects of it if you kind of like that look or the rear look. This is a dummy section here. This is going to be where the battery is with like a really nice battery wrap and then SD card access here. But kind of cool, you can hide it that way or hide it that way. So a lot of different options for displaying the saber. And then this slides off here. And we can get a look at this rear crystal chamber. We got copper and brass accents. These are the back side of the battery tray. Once this is 3D printed to hold the battery, there's space where you can do some accent LEDs here. So pretty cool. So let me show you how to this is mainly for Chris, but I'm sure others would find this interesting. I usually send these breakdown videos for all of my clients who are going to get an install, whether it's to Chris or the installer of their choice. I have a few that I work with that I recommend. Chris is one of them. And I will send this video so that they can see their Saber, how it breaks down, but then it also just helps the installer just take some of the guesswork out of what goes into installing it, so they don't have to just try to figure it out. So it's kind of a nice thing. So what you have here, so up here is going to be your 1032 set screw for your 830 or 7/8 inch blade. Now, this set screw here is going to allow you to take this whole module out so that you can easily wire everything up. So let me show you. So you're going to loosen this 832 and then back this 1032 set screw out. Now this should allow this to come out all the way. So once this is out, now you can light the crystal here. You have your copper rails where you can put your wire pass through. Now I do have a smaller ID ring right there. That is so that the blade side PCB can have a little lip printed to inset in there, and you can epoxy it down in there or press fit it down. I wanted to do that so it's not just resting up against the copper chamber rods, and make it a little easier for install. Now once this goes back in, you'll see it's lathed down to fit in here, so it'll stop, it won't go any further. But just make sure, and you might need to back this out, that the holes line up, this blade retention hole, and then once it screws all the way in, then you know it's safe to tighten this down, okay? And I've tested it. You have press fit 8mm switches. So I've chosen the copper ones. These are Saber Bay Kessel custom designed switches. And so it kind of brings some of the copper elements in here. Also, you'll notice you have a brass, the upper is the brass, but then you have copper rails here. So it kind of brings some of that copper color up to the top chassis. And then I've used brass rods for this one to bring some of the brass into this copper. Just fun little design aesthetic things. Also, this chrome plated brass, I believe, chrome plated brass section I got from KR Sabers as a discarded piece. This is like probably 95% all handmade, and then any found parts are heavily modded, but there's only a few. So anyway, this kind of brings some of that copperish look up to the top. Really love the way this Saber turned out. So this is just just for decorative purposes. I put this in here, but again, this is it's just a throwaway piece. This is going to have the battery, the short battery, and you have a little more space in here, the rear part of the pommel, for a speaker, so you can have the speaker come out about to here. So that gives you a little more room, Chris, when you're installing. You can always hit me up for questions, by the way. And then you have, I think, about 1.011 inches for here. So it's a little bigger than the usual 1.009 that I provide. So you may have to go, you most likely will have to go with a smaller speaker, and a shorter battery, but you'll have room, and those extra 0.0 will give you enough space to put an LED strip here. Get a closer look at all this. Now, to get access to this rear chamber, just to make it easier to install everything, this set screw, back that out, And this module comes out as well. So you can light the crystal and have your pass through here. All right, so let's put everything back just because it's kind of cool. And as I'm doing this, again, remember, those of you in the comments, if you can think up a name that David from the Saber Museum, we're going to allow him to choose the winning name. I'll send you a little something cool from Starfall. Just some swag. Don't get too excited. Some Starfall swag. Maybe even a little crystal chamber module just for fun with a sticker. I kind of gave away the surprise. That's probably what it'll be. Make it worth it to put some thought into coming up with a name for this really cool mystery commission, free creative reign with the elite crystal core. So again, make sure the blade set screw is lined up with this. And see if I can eyeball it without having to remove this 1032 set screw. Did I get lucky? Yep, it worked. That kind of locks it in the correct position. Tighten this down. So again, think, for those that are going to be naming it, think, skeletal structure. Possibly this Jedi or Force user was constructing or repairing their lightsaber when catastrophe struck, and it was an ancient relic, kind of lost to time, and that's why we've got some of this damaging and weathering on it. Or if you can create a cooler backstory than that, then be my guest. But remember, the goal is to come up with a name that David from the Saber Museum, that's my client, is going to fall in love with and officially name this saber. So you'll get the the word that's coming is prestige, but that's like too dumb sounding. You get the honor, I guess, or just the cool factor of naming this saber, which is in my opinion, like one of the most intricate designs I've done. I really am going to be sad to see this one go, but I can't wait to see it all installed. Again, just to show you how cool this looks. But yeah, so you'll get the cool factor of getting to name David's saber. And any of you who are not familiar with David's collection, it's absolutely incredible. You can follow him on Instagram. He's always highlighting all of his collection, and he's only highlighted a small fraction of it thus far. It's the Saber Museum, at the Saber Museum. I'll tag it down in the description. But yeah, you can name this saber, and then I'll send you some Starfall swag. There you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Now back to my saber cave to finish more orders. May the Force be with you.